Warm welcome and good evening to all. I, Punsok Dolma, on behalf of the International Buddhist Confederation (IBC), would like to welcome you all to our fourth Dhamma Talk of our ongoing fortnightly program called International Dhamma Talk Series. Our teacher for today's Dhamma Talk is Venerable Professor Miriswaththe Wimalagnana, Department of Buddhist Culture, Postgraduate Institute of Pali and Buddhist Studies of University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka, who would be teaching us on the topic Conceit in Right and Wrong Way Looking Through Abhidhamma. Venerable Professor Miriswaththe Wimalagnana is a Theravada Buddhist monk and a practitioner in Sri Lanka. He is currently holding a professorship and is also the head of the Department of Buddhist Culture of the Postgraduate Institute of Pali and Buddhist Studies of University of Kelaniya. Venerable Professor Miriswaththe Wimalagnana is both an academician and a professor and a practitioner. So may I now request Venerable Dr. Dhamma Piyaji, Secretary General IBC, to kindly welcome our teacher. Venerable Dr. Dhamma Piyaji.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Dudiyampi tatiyampi, Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami. A very good evening to most venerable Professor Miriswaththe Wimalagnana Mahatheroji. You're most welcome to this Dhamma Talk Series, Venerable. I also would like to take this opportunity to welcome all our esteemed viewers, Venerable monks, nuns, masters, brothers, sisters, and friends in Dhamma from across the globe who are joining directly through this online talk platform or through Facebook or YouTube. I welcome you all today. Today's topic is very interesting. Conceit. In some way or the other, we do experience that we have conceit, mana, or pride, whatever we call that. Sometimes it is so mild, but sometimes it is too gross, and we do not really know about that, how it affects our life, our relationship, and also our activities. Today we have most venerable Professor Miriswaththe Wimalagnana Mahatheroji, who will highlight on this topic. I welcome you, Venerable. I think the topic is very interesting and will benefit from your talk. Right.
Thank you, Venerable Dr. Dhamma Piyaji. So before starting the teaching, I would like to mention that the teachings will be followed by 20 minutes of Q&A session. So I request all the participants to kindly come up with your questions or put them in the chat box. So now may I request our Venerable teacher to kindly start the teaching. Thank you, Venerable.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Most venerable peer, also the coordinator. Thank you for the nice introduction about me at the beginning, and also introducing me. My thanks goes to Venerable Dhamma Talk. This was actually a very unexpected invitation, an unexpected invitation, sudden invitation. But with interest, I accepted it because it is always an opportunity. Talking about traditionally, about how Buddhism introduces good acts. We have this traditional list of 10 meritorious actions, where it is said that both teaching and also listening as well as teaching is a meritorious action. So an opportunity to teach Dhamma whenever, wherever is an opportunity. And at the same time, it is a meritorious action. So we should not miss it. If the time permits, if the location permits, and we have the minimum capability, we have to do that for the sake of human beings and gods. As Venerable Dhammapiya Thero introduces quite rightly, we are today talking about mana. M long A N A mana. This is a very famous Pali word, and as he pointed out, today we are trying to look at this mana or conceit, as I have used in my topic, in a different way, in relation to Buddhism. Basically, we are talking about the bad aspect of mana, the wrong aspect of mana, and also unwholesome aspect of mana, conceit. But here we are trying to look at something different, because, and it also has some positive aspect. I think that word positive we have to describe later on, because when you say positive, it also has different connotations and meanings. But first of all, to begin with, I would like to say there is some positive aspect. So don't be afraid of this big topic. In this kind of discussion, seminars, and Dhamma talk, sometimes we have very attractive and big topics, but sometimes what you are talking is not so big and profound. Sometimes what we are talking is very simple. Sometimes the things that we already know, not the things that we absolutely don't know, but it could be a different way of presenting, because Buddhism is talking about pariyaya. Buddhism is a pariyaya desana, we say. Pariyaya means there are so many modes of presentations. The discourses have been presented in many modes. So therefore, I don't say that what I'm going to talk today is something totally totally new to you. But talking the positive aspect, the good side of mana is something specific, and this should come through the perspectives of Abhidhamma, because to understand mana in that way, you have to go to Abhidhamma. So I think it's a different, something very important, because when you comprehensively understand Buddhism, if you try to comprehensively understand Buddhism, you have to go to different texts, different interpretations, different pariyaya desanas. So just reading one sutta is not enough. I think this applies to other religions also, whether it be Hinduism, whether it be Jainism, whether it be Islam, whether it be Christianity. So all the religions demand There are texts to be read from different perspectives, and many texts need to be read by the people who study them. It's a common thing. So yes, so mana actually is not something, or conceit is not. So our topic, to introduce the topic again, it is the mana in right way and wrong way, looking through Abhidharma. This conceit, actually, the Buddha was very much concerned with mana, because at the outset, I should say that it was basically introduced as an unwholesome mental state. And after centuries, when the knowledge of human beings and the civilization developed, when other sciences developed, like, for example, sociology, psychology, they developed, the sciences developed, then they were talking about the human mental state, especially psychology, and also there is a relevance of sociology. So therefore, we know a lot about mana. So I don't think I need to give you a very lengthy introduction about mana, because the general idea of mana is already known. So it is a kind of mental state in which someone has some, technically we say, some inflated mind, inflated mentality. When you say inflated mentality, that you have some very unacceptable higher self-image, self-esteem. So in that case, what one might do is that he's going to talk very much about his achievements and extraordinary abilities, potentials, and also he regards himself sometimes to be very wonderful and very special, sometimes than many others. So that that kind of idea is there. This is actually this is not good, because now in Buddhism and in psychology, in sociology, we always talk about mutual support, mutual understanding, mutual harmony. So when you have this kind of mentality where you are boasting yourself unnecessarily, unexpectedly, and in a way, like form of nuisance, you cannot maintain your good relationship with others, because it becomes a nuisance. So all the sciences, whether it be psychology or sociology, they talk about how to sort of to overcome this mental state. So therefore, all these sciences, disciplines have a better understanding about conceit. Now when I can remember one incident, of course, when I don't know, now this is the effect, or the psychological effect, or otherwise the power of this kind of behavior of someone. So the kind of image one can make, the negative image one can make probably upon some person, I can explain in the form of an example. When I was a student, probably I was in the third year in the University of Peradeniya for my Bachelor of Arts. I was actually teaching in my English was good to the extent that I could teach in a preliminary class, in a class where English is taught at a preliminary primary level, preliminary level. So during that time, actually, this is in Kandy. This took place in Kandy, and there was one person, and he was a fellow guy who happened to teach something like Buddhist management. And there, and on the very first day that I met him, he tried to show me some of his skills, of course. And he was talking about Buddhism management and the different things, which actually I didn't know during that time. During that time, I didn't have very much idea about Buddhist management, because it's a different discipline. And then I said him several times that actually I'm teaching English in the same institute with you. I'm appointed to do the similar kind of job here. And then he didn't understand it. He tried to explain his kind of understanding about this discipline. And still today, I can remember that particular person because of that kind of image. I don't say I was angry with him, but I wanted to make him understand. And actually, I wanted to stop him talking unnecessarily about this thing. But that was a kind of boasting, and that was a kind of nuisance as well. So that's not good. in order, I mean, a sutta like Sigaluwada Sutta, a sutta like Mangala Sutta, a sutta like Parabhava Sutta. So all these teachings are, and also Vinaya in the monastic community are teaching the communal life, the mutual understanding and good, I mean, harmony among the human beings. So that's very necessary. I mean, we are not isolated people. For a monk, it is okay, but for other people, you need to have a life with your other fellow human beings, your neighbors, and so on and so forth, your family members. So therefore, that's not a good thing. So you have to be very careful about this kind of thing. Now, Buddhism. What is actually Buddhist kind of idea about concept? It's very much similar. But when I look at the Buddhist interpretation of it, when I look at the Buddhist kind of interpretation of mana, I think it is a little bit broader than how we understand in other sciences, modern sciences, like what I said. So here, there are so many meanings given. If you look at dictionaries, you will find so many interpretations, similarities, connotations, like that. But there are three important meanings I have selected. One is the same thing, that is the conceit. The first thing I said, conceit, the inflated kind of mentality of a person. This is clear to now. And the second thing is, pride. So now it's interesting. So pride, the connection of pride of mana is something very important. But now I'm not going to talk about this very much because, I mean, this pride thing, the meaning of pride, the meaning of pride of related to, connected to mana is something that we have to highlight separately. I will do that later on. And the other one is arrogance. Arrogance. You have some arrogance. Why? The reason is that always when you have, in Buddhistic understanding, when you have mana, you make a type of comparison, manyana. You make a kind of comparison. Always you tend to make a comparison with other people. But this comparison can be something good also. Because when you compare, because we follow others, for example, as academicians, we follow other fellow academicians, our peer teachers, our peer academicians. And as monks, we follow our, our senior monks. And also sometimes junior monks. We have to do that for the better purposes. Also, we do that. So that's a wholesome thing. That's a good thing. That's a fruitful thing. But this comparison, when it comes to mana, actually it's coming other way around. It's not a good thing. It's an awful thing. Then what is this arrogance actually? This arrogance is I think it is a kind of, as we understand from the text, for example, I mean, from the commentaries, this arrogance is coming because your tendency is something derogatory, because you always try to say something bad of him. Now, there are three ways of this mana, three types of mana. This is very famous in our discourses. One is Seyamana, that is you are thinking yourself as being higher to other people because of something. We don't know what it is. It could be education. It could be your good behavior or something you do. Your good behavior also you might take for you to consider in such a way that you think you are sort of doing more morally good actions than other people, and these kind of ideas can convert into unwholesomeness. So that I'm not going to explain very much here. That is also possible. So for whatever reason, you think higher to the other people. Seya means greater. Seya means greater in Pali. And the other one is sadisa. So sadisa is not equality. Now we have in Pali this idea equality. That is this equality idea, samanattata. You consider yourself as equal as others. For example, if you think that I'm a human being, you are also a human being. And you say sabbe satta bhavantu sukhidatta, we say. And all are, life forms. So therefore, they must be good and happy. So that kind of equality, and we all are suffering. And therefore, we have to face the similar destinies. So therefore, what we have to do, the best thing we have to do is to extend our compassion or loving kindness to others. So in these kind of situations, we have this what we call equality. But this is not the equality that you are having in case of mana. In that case, I think what you're having something different. Probably I'm equal to you, so I don't need to respect you. And I have this the similar powers, and why should I consider you as a special person? For example, now if somebody said for an arahant, there are arahants. So in the Buddhist history, we have such incidences, examples. Some of the lower spiritual monks, spiritually lower monks, did not respect the Buddha, and even his immediate disciples, who were spiritually very higher and far more intelligent than many other monks, and some of the people did not respect. And like that. So now we have this famous Guttila Jataka, if you have come across. Now in the Guttila Jataka, of course, the teacher was very kind and generous. He taught to a student, and the student was skillful enough to learn everything that teacher knew, teachers taught. And then finally, he had this idea that I am as equal as the teacher. So the benefits that the teacher gets from because of his performances, I should also get. So this is the kind of negative equality, sadisa equality that we have in sadisamana. So we have sayamana, we have sadisamana. The last one is hinamana. Hinamana is I consider myself to be inferior. So now in Buddhism, now in popular disciplines, we have superiority complex, and we also have inferiority complex, but in the middle there is nothing identified. But in Buddhism, we have this superiority complex, and the opposite side, the inferiority complex, and also at the same time, we also have this equality kind of, I don't know how to call it, but the equality kind of mentality, which is problematic, which is not good. So that therefore, so this according to this way, I think this arrogance is coming because of this one. So you are not seeing someone, when you say sayer, the greater, you are not considering that person valuable, higher, important, skillful, very good, or greater. No, not that kind of way. But your tendency is something to see something derogatory, something discriminatory, in other words, like that. It applies to other things also. So when we look at this in that way, you can understand that is actually we can understand that is bad. And when we look at other teachings also, this is taught as something bad. For example, Buddha is in many of his teachings, he has introduced mana as unwholesome. So if you look at early discourses, it's clearly pointed out, the Buddha clearly pointed out, mana is very dangerous. It has potentials to lead someone to the lower births either. Now, Buddha says, manena makkato hoti, atimanena kukkuro. Manena makkato hoti, atimanena kukkuro. Because of the conceit that you have, you can be born manena makkata. Makkata means monkey. Manena makkato hoti, you can be born in a lower realm as a monkey. Atimanena kukkuro. Because of the higher level of conceit, higher level of mana, one can be born as a kukkura, that is the dog. That is the dog, the canine bird. So that is powerful. That is the power, that is the negative power, the negative potentials of mana. It can give you a very bad kind of birth. And there is another reference in the Dhammapada. The Buddha says, Yatha ragocha dosocha mano makhocha papito. If there is one, if there is a place where raga, that is desire, that is desire, raga. And then dosa is hatred, that ragocha dosocha. Mana is there together with other three. Mana is again conceit, and makko is hypocrisy. When, if these things are abandoned, papito, abandoned, then tamaham brumi brahmana, that kind of person I identify as a brahmin. I think this is very popular statement of the teachings of the Buddha, because Buddha did not identify anyone as a brahmin because of his lineage, but he understood anyone as a brahmin of a greater birth, of greater reputation, or a greater being, Brahma, or a great being, because of his conduct. This is very famous. Kamuna vasalo hoti, najacha vasalo hoti, not by birth, but by karma. Kamuna hoti Brahmana. So therefore he identifies anyone who has destroyed or amended these mentalities as a Brahmin. So kodang jahe vippa jahe yamana. Now this is another reference. Kodang jahe. This is also in the Dhammapada. Kodang jahe. You have to overcome koda. Vippa jahe yamana. Mana is especially you have to. Emphatically, Buddha says you have to vippa jahe. Buddha emphasizes that you have to, in particularly you have to destroy mana. Kodang jahe vippa jahe mana. When we comes with jaha, we comes. We means especially. In particularly, it is a prefix which has the meaning of particularity. In particular, that is the meaning. So vippajaheya, like that. So mana is when discussed about mana, when the Buddha discussed about mana, this is how basically he has introduced mana. So in that way, taken in that way, we see mana is very dangerous. Mana has very greater potentials that one can get a lower birth because of that one, and it is something that we have to omit, that we have to eradicate, overcome. So that is how the Buddha has interpreted it. But then actually now what about basically talking about the general life actually. Now as I told you, there is this when the mana has these powers actually, it is very impossible for you to lead a good life even in your general secular community, because we have seen actually when you have mana, I told you that mana also has this meaning of arrogance. So when the mana is, when you compare someone for a negative purpose or a negative way, there is arrogance, because there is a conflict, because when you have the comparison, you don't have a good idea about that person, and then what is happening is there is a conflict. This conflict is very bad. Because of this conflict, there could arise something very bad. I will give you one good example that I heard very recently. I can't remember where I heard this from, but this story is very interesting. I think it's a very good example about having mana and not having mana. The good result of not having mana and the bad result of having mana. In one of the companies, I don't know the company is. I don't know who the girl was. I don't know what actually the company was, but this is the basic story that I can remember. There was a lady, and she was working as a storekeeper. Storekeeper, which is in that company, is not a lower position. The storekeeper actually in that company, storekeeper means it was an administrative kind of position, not a lower position, but it's an administrative kind of position. So this lady was used to come to the company almost every day, and basically he was the person who was now as the storekeeper. She was always going to the stock actually. Yes, the company was a farming company, and all the vegetables that the company produced, the firm produced, was for the purpose of sending to other countries, exportation, they kept in a cool room. So now her job was to check these fruits and vegetables and whatever they produced, and then it was her responsibility to check everything there. One day, suddenly, actually, he went to the room, went into this stock. This is a cool room because of the purpose of preserving these produce things for a longer period of time in order for them to be imported, exported. And then one day she went to the room. Actually, she took a longer time. She stayed a longer time in this room in the store, and the person, another person who was not in the administrative position, did not know that she was there, and she locked the room and came out and submitted the key to the gate to the security officer. Not of course the security officer, but he's a person doing the security at the security gate in front of the company. And what happened was that now she, when she tried to come out of the room, she knew that now this is already, she checked the time, and she came to know that, oh, this is what happened. Now they might have thought that I was out, but no, unknowingly they have locked the door. And now this is very dangerous because there is no one to take care of her, to save her, because to save her life, because everybody now by this time everybody was out, and unfortunately she did not have her phone in her hand. And she now thought this is terrible, because after now the store was becoming cooler and cooler, and she knew that after half an hour or so, now she is totally in trouble. She might have died. And then after 20 minutes or so, suddenly a person came and opened the door, and she was very surprised, amazing at seeing another person coming into room to save her. This was the security person. This was the security person. And she was surprised, and she asked, how did you know that I had been locked in the room? And this is a store. And he said, this is very important. He said, madam, there are hundreds of people going through this gate. Okay. Hundreds of people going through the gate, and all these people going out are, coming out of the company through the same gate. But you are the only person who regard me as something special, because whenever you come in the morning, you say me good morning or something nice, which is pleased to me. And whenever you when you go back, you tell me something or say bye or something interesting. Okay, so therefore I am expecting you every day. You are the only one in this company. And it was something, maybe it was actually at that moment it was something secret. He just wanted to express his idea to her, even though it was later on sort of popular among not only among the community of the firm, but also among other people in the world. So he said, you are the only person I'm expecting in this company. Every day you come, I notice you. Every day you go back, I notice you. So today I noticed you coming, but I did not notice you going back. So then I thought that you might be inside, and without asking anyone, I came to know, because you are so special to me. So I opened the sealed doors, and I opened the sealed store also. And this was a wonderful story. So because she didn't have any arrogance, she didn't have any conflict, and moreover, she had this the positive idea of equality. Even though he is a lower ranked person, she did not regard that one. I mean, she was respectful. She was respectful to that person. So this is how nice when we don't have mana. But if she was the same person who is having some sort of arrogant conceit, and that person will never notice this lady, and she will never come to he will never come to save her. Okay, that is some example. Now looking at Buddhism again, I think this is going to be a little bit longer. So talking again and longer, I think the people have this difficulty to understand sometimes. I don't know whether how it is in case of you now. I will try to sort of summarize what I'm going to tell you. Now, if you look at Buddhism, what about spirituality? What about spirituality? How is it spiritually, mana is problematic? If you look at the 10 fetters, you will see there are 5 fetters as lower fetters, and there are other 5 fetters as higher fetters. What do you mean by this? Lower fetters are the common fetters, which most of the people have in the common society, but there is a religious aspect. But some of these fetters are very common to everyone, and they are they are lower. They are lower, and it means they are easier to destroy. It doesn't mean they are easy, but in the spiritual sense, in the growth of spirituality, it is easier than the other to destroy than the other 5. So if you look at mana, I mean the higher fetters, when later you can check these fetters. If you look at higher fetters, what are the higher fetters? What are the difficult things for one to destroy? There is a rupa raga, the desire for form attainments, form jhanas. Look at that one. Desire for form jhanas. And the second one is arupa jhanas, desire for formless attainments. Then mana, third come mana among the list of higher fetters. Mana. Look at that one. So mana is very difficult. When can you destroy mana? Only at the arahantship. Only at the arahantship. See, now until the arahantship, even the person who is in the anagami position, non-returner position, still retains some amount of mana. It's very difficult. So then there is an idea that when you talk about spirituality, there is some sort of mana is remaining there. So I will give you a wonderful example. Now there was a very famous, this is something related to Buddhist history. In one of the commentaries, there is a story about a monk one Dhammadina, and this Venerable was an Arahant, and there was a famous another monk who was famous as an Arahant, who was prescribing kammatthana, the objects for meditation for other monks. He had hundreds of students. And this the Hamaduru from Anuradhapura, the Dhammadina Hamaduru from Anuradhapura, visited the southern temples, especially Situlpavu temple. And on the way, and that Venerable was very famous for the meditation, as a meditation master, was also living in the southern province, close to Situlpavu. And on the way, he went to this latter Venerable's, second Venerable's Aram, and met him. He was friendly, having a friendly talk. And he asked Venerable, okay, you are very famous, I'm very happy about you. So what about your spiritual development? Do you have any psychic powers? He said, yes, I'm having. I can perform. And then Venerable, that Dhammadina Hamaduru told, then can you show me one? What do you want, Venerable? Please show an elephant, a big elephant. Create an elephant with the sake of, with your power of your mental power. And then what happened was that Venerable, actually without thinking much, he created an elephant, a mammoth. And what happened was that as soon as this Venerable created him, he saw him coming towards himself, and he was so absolutely terrified. The monk was absolutely terrified, and he ran away. And later on, he understood that, and the discussion is over there. And there was no further discussions. And he himself understood. What did he understand? I am not Arahant. Even though I am popular as a medicant, as a meditation master, prescribing meditation techniques, kammatthana for hundreds of thousands of students, still I am not perfect. So now why? Now he had all this mana, right? Definitely the story reveals that this was because of his mana. He actually was not perfect, but he still had some sort of conceit, and he was thinking that he was a perfect being, perfect enlightened person. It is not so. So when you look at that term, then you can understand mana is bad, unwholesome, but at the same time, there is something about mana, because for your progress, some people, because when you progress spiritually also, when you spiritually progress also, there is some elements of mana you have. So even though it is bad, sometimes it is there. Sometimes for some extent, it leads you to some sort of, I don't say that mana is helpful for you to develop your spirituality, but still at the time, at the level of higher spiritual levels, still there is mana. That Venerable acted that way, that Venerable thought that way, because we can infer because of mana. Okay. Now this is the last thing. Now this is all about commentary, and this is all about Sutta Pitaka, and now we are coming to Abhidhamma, which is the interesting thing. Okay. Now think about the general life. Okay. Now I told you that mana, very correctly, mana had been connected with the meaning of pride. Pride. I like very much scholars giving this meaning to mana, pride. Pride is something actually, this is not very much, pride is not very much connected with mana in the other sciences. There are elements, but it's not very clearly connected. When it comes to Pali tradition, that is something broader, and pride is also. Now what about the people? Now think about your education. Think about your abilities. Now all of us have some abilities. Now in case of mine, I have some sort of intellectual abilities, some creative abilities. So I have to accept I have some sort of mana. All the people. Now today morning in the institute, I went to institute, and there was one gentleman who came from Christianity, Buddhism. He was talking about the kind of examination he passed. And when I look at him, I understood that, because I actually was thinking what to talk today. Because today evening I have this talk. So I was also thinking about what the things that I should present to the kind of audience that I'm going to get. So then when I look at this person, like it was absolutely very good person, very nice person, and he said that I passed this examination. I passed this examination. I'm very proud. And he said, so now actually now he's a practitioner. He's talking now. I said you now. I told you no, don't say so. Now I said okay, now it's okay, but now I know Christianity is also a very good religion. There are very good set of ethics. And he said, but still this Dhamma idea, that is the possibility for us to develop these wholesome ideas, wholesome phenomena, mental phenomena within our mind, is something specific I never had. Now I am learning that. In my examination, I learned about it. Now I'm practicing it. So that kind of thing. And I saw some kind of pride in him. So still I think he retains in his mind some sort of mana, which is functioning. So looking in that way, so all the people have some sort of mana. They are proud about what they are achieving. So this is something that we see. So what about patriotism? Patriotism, we have what we call Jatyanuragi. We love our country. Sometimes we are proud of our history, like the patriotism. And so when we look at through this phenomena, through general senses, through the lenses of the common life, we see the mana has something in the common life. And is it then the people who are proud of their achievement, or the people who try to progress their life economically, socially, materially, financially, economically? Is it a sin? No, it is not a sin. Is it wholesome? But it is not wholesome. That is the most important thing, because it is secular. It is on the side of secular, but it's not wholesome. So if I am going to be if I am going to get my bachelor degree, I am proud of what I am doing, about my achievements. I am progressing, but it's not a kusala, because it has nothing to do at that moment with spiritual development. It is not a kusala, but at the same time, it is akusala, not because you are generating some papa, some sin, but because it is on the side of secularity. It is secular because this is a secular purpose, because most of the time, if you are not developing your mentality in a spiritual way, when you are learning, actually what you are having is at that moment some secular ideas, to pass examination, to have a good name, to earn a life, and to learn more, to satisfy your kind of idea or I mean desire for learning. Philosophy is called desire for love for learning, philosophy. So that those kind of things are intended to be fulfilled by doing those kind of. So that pride is there. So in Abhidharma, there is the mana is introduced as unwholesome, but it is said that for the progress, the people have to do that. So that is why sometimes for a better understanding, we have to look at Abhidharma. What does it say? Abhidharma says there is an unwholesome thought. We know in the Abhidharma there are 89 thoughts. Among these thoughts, there's one particular thought on the akusala side, and that thought is akusala, but it is not as bad as other thought. Abhidharma says this is the thought that we need for the progress of the humanity in the secular world. So this is the third chitta. This is the third chitta in the Abhidharma. I'm not going to explain all these chitta. This is the third chitta in the set of 8 unwholesome desirous thought. This is the third chitta among the list of 8 unwholesome thought of desire. So there is a desire, and there is also mana in the third thought. In the third thought, there is mana, the conceit, and there is desire. The thoughts are desirous, but at the same time, there is mana. So this is the thought where mana is very prominent. Mana is prominent. Then can you exactly tell this is not sin? This is unwholesome. Now it is clear to us it is unwholesome, but we said that unwholesome necessarily does not mean that it is a papa. It's a demeritorious act which can give you something like lower birth. But it is unwholesome because it is not on the spiritual side. It is totally on the secular side because you are seeking for the progress. But does the Abhidharma exactly say that this is something which does not promote demerits or accumulate demerits? Papa? Yes. The Abhidharma says there are 2 types of mana. One is ayathava mana. The first one is ayathava mana, which means unacceptable mana. Unacceptable mana. The second one is unnati mana. Unnati mana, which is progress mana, progressive mana. And look at that one. Progressive mana. So sometimes for the progress on the secular side, you need mana. You need some sort of mana. For that Venerable who thought himself to be perfect without being perfect, it was mana at that time functioning. At that level, it is a kind of unwholesome thing because mana, it is an unwholesome, but it gave some sort of power for him because he's not doing some papa there, but it gave some sort of energy to him. Here also, when it comes to the secular thing, ayatava mana is the mana, and the unnati mana, when you have unnati mana, when you are trying to progress yourself without doing anything bad, without hurting others, without transgressing moral precepts or general moral kind of our ideologies, that's not a papa. So therefore, unnati mana is not a papa. Ayatava mana is the mana where you compare someone, you make manyana, you compare someone in the way of Seiya, Sahina, and Sadisa, and see something derogatory and discriminatory. That is papa. But unnati mana is not papa. So then it must be clear that mana is necessary. If we say you don't have to, the pride is bad, what's going to happen? There is no progress for the Buddhist. So you have to have patriotism. You have to have pride about your achievement. You have to have pride about your achievements. That's not a bad thing. Otherwise, the Buddhism is going to be non-practical. No, Buddhism is non-practical. You have to have a better understanding about Buddhism to see its significance. So I think my now already I think I have taken about 40 minutes. I think that's enough. And in the discussion, I would like to make any further clarification. Thank you very much. I like if you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Venerable, for an enlightening teaching. Now the floor is open for the question and answers. We request all the participants, if you have any question, kindly ask your question to our Venerable teacher here.
Venerable sir,
Yeah.
I'm in Venerable area one sir.
Yes,
Now,
yes. I recognize you.
I'm really late, to listen to your presentation because of my busy dumbbell job.
Yeah.
I just came to your presentation very recently, but I already listened to your part of presentation. I already heard there is the different types of pride. This different type of pride or conceit. Especially we human beings have two types of pride or conceit. The one is our personal or personal pride or private pride. Another is national pride. Both of them are our great obstacle to our life success. So we want to eradicate both of them one by one. How can we eradicate the personal pride, or how can we eradicate our national pride? Now, please answer this question.
Yeah. Yes. So pride taken in a general sense, actually, it is, as I told you, now I told you I selected three specific meanings of mana. So one is pride, and now you are talking about personal pride and national pride.
Yeah.
And now in the at the secular level, actually, both of these types of pride are necessary. I mean, this is what I emphasize. But again, when you come to spiritually developed, then you understand that actually this pride is not going to work. It is not. It's not something that actually we need in our spiritual life.
Yeah.
Because at the development of now we know that this is a concept. Okay, the country is absolutely a panyati. It's a concept, and not only that, the idea of I and mine, mama, I.
Yeah.
All these are concepts which are really not existing, but this needs some sort of ardent dedicated practice for you to understand this one. You know this difference the difference between panyati and paramatha. At a time when you have developed spiritually yourself to a greater level, you come to know that that you are pride about something actually not existing. So all these are created by some mental states. But that's a very high level of understanding. But until that time, you probably tend to keep these kind of concepts, and you have some sort of dealing with them. They're not bad, but at the higher level, they become sort of meaningless.
Right. Very, very nice your answers. Very, very good answer. I understand very clearly. Thank you very much.
Professor.
Anyone would like to ask questions?
Hello, Professor Miriswaththe Wimalagnana.
Yes, Bhante.
I am from Buddhist and Pali University, Sri Lanka.
Thank you very much for being present,
Yes.
Pandit.
Unfortunately, it was latter part of your lecture that I joined with that, right?
It's
Hello?
okay.
Yeah.
It's okay, but
anyway,
yeah.
Anyway, you had done a great work here, and it was very enlightening lecture, and you covered a vast area. And to my view, to my explanation, I felt if we can take this mana from etymological side, I think from etymological side, we can consider it. It makes positive side, like from Dhamma doctrinal side. Actually, mana represents unwholesome area, as you rightly mentioned, right? When we go to Patthana Prakarana, Vibhanga Pali, there you may have seen Tatta Katamang Mana Sangyojanang, Seyo Hamasmiti Mano, Sadiso Hamasmiti Mano, Hino Hamasmiti Mano, Everup Mano, Manyana, Manyitatang, Unnati, Unnamo, Dajo, Sampagaho, Ketu Kamyata Chittasa Idang Uchati, Mana Sangyojanam. As you rightly said, it is one of 10 fetters which should be eradicated at the arahantship, no?
Yes.
But what I want to emphasize here is that when the term mana is preceded or is modified by some sort of upasarga, what we call the preposition, it is then that we can have a good side of mana, like abhimana, sammana, bahumana, right? Such terms can be seen in Buddha's discourses, right? Therefore, yes, just I would like to know what you mean. Whether it it denotes the term mana denotes good side with joining the upasarga. What do you mean that?
Yeah, I think you are I mean you are really correct, Panditandra, because even in actually I did not mention in my talk about these important terms. So when the words comes like these prefixes like bahumana, as you mentioned, I think it is, I mean, we already have these terms in the text, so they are not derogatory, they are not negative actually, because they are actually found in the monastic discipline as well. So in that sense, they're very clear. They give some positive good aspect, and also probably some I'm very careful in using some of the words, but probably it might give some whole things of wholesomeness also. Thank you very much. You're very correct.
Welcome, Professor. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best, right?
Participants
I don't know. I have actually a power cut. I don't know. Maybe you can hear me, listen to me, but
yes,
I think
yes.
because of the power cut, you cannot see me probably.
Yeah, we can hear.
And hear you as well.
Hello.
Yes, Venerable.
Yes, Bante. Actually, I'm your student. You may recognize me.
Yes, I do.
So,
I do very well.
Yes, Bante. Actually, I'm indeed very happy to hear you, and it was very great insight. And I would like to thank even the organizer. And this is just I wanted two references to know two references. I read somewhere else it says that when the man, you also said that when the man is a monk is spiritually developed, so that monk should not condemn other monks like I'm more silava than you, I got so more spirituality developed than you. But unfortunately, I forget the source, the name of the source. One thing is that in case I'm not now, but later if possible even. Another thing is
I think it should be one sutta where you find this kind of reference is Apannaka Sutta. Check the sutta, Apannaka Sutta. The
Apannaka Sutta.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you have
Yeah.
idea of Saddhamma Sanyati. You have when in the explanation of Saddhamma Sanyati, the Buddha says that presents this kind of idea. Okay, I think you had another part of your question.
Yeah. Apannaka Sutta. Yeah. So another part is as Bante last questioner said about the Abhiman. So I also would like to hear whether how to, I mean, sometimes say proudness, too much proudness, abhiman, for the personally or about the country, about the religion. Sometimes say I'm the proud of Buddhism. So is there any connection about the abhiman, or can we say abhiman good or bad, or what is there anything about it?
Yeah, I don't think they are bad to the extent that I think the most important thing is now, as already, I mean, as a Buddhist, young Buddhist scholar, you know that our behavior should be now attavya badha epi samvattati. So the bad behavior is that you are sort of troublesome to oneself. Attavya badha epi samvattati, paravya badha epi samvattati. You are become troublesome to someone else, another person. So and ubhayavya badha epi samvattati. So in some way you become a troublesome to oneself and others. So in that sense, if you are not making, I think this self-troubling is something related to morality. So if you trouble yourself in a moral way, and if you are doing the same thing in case of the other person, that is the bad behavior. So if your, for example, pride is not going to be problematic in that way, to that extent, I think it's not a problem. In my understanding, they are useful, they're necessary. But
so if I
as that for previously Venerable question asked me if actually they are I mean, as you know, they become useful in the spiritual path. They become useful only to a certain extent, because now there is a particular time and a level where you have to omit them. To disregard them, because they become useless at a higher level of spirituality. Where you see the Dhamma. Where you see the Dhamma.
Yeah, I got it now. Yeah, thank you.
I don't know whether I gave you a perfect answer, but
yes, as I understood, to insist if the morality, our prideness is not going to harm anyone, so it's okay in some level to continue our life.
Because if your pride is because now, for example, Indian or Bangladeshi or a German person, now all these people, they have this I mean, the people who have produced these great works, I don't think they didn't have any pride of their achievements. Because now if you take, for example, now if you look at the translation of Mahavansa by Geiger, look at the introduction, and then we can understand how much they have been proud of their kind of work. I mean, very recently I read this. So that pride in your work, or in case of your country, about your, you know, your family tradition, all these things are very necessary, but that should not exceed our moral kind of acceptances. Yeah,
I got it now. Thank you very much.
okay.
Hello. Sorry, hello.
Yes, Venerable, you are also here.
Yes, Venerable. I'm Prasannote and I'm from Nepal now. And very nice presentation. I really appreciate and it is really insightful presentation. But unfortunately, I also could not join from the beginning, but I could hear some at the last part. So thank you so much, Venerable, for your presentation, first of all, and the organization also. So my question here is, this mana, as you have mentioned that until the arhathood, so we could not get rid of this mana. So we can see in day-to-day life also that how in subtle level also we will have mana, but it's so difficult to understand that we will having mana sometime, and sometimes there are many bad consequences also, as you have mentioned just now also. So how can we recognize between this conceit in right way and conceit in wrong way, so that we are just free from harming ourselves and free from harming someone else also. So I think if we can understand even the subtle level of this mana, then sometimes I also can see my friends that they have mana, and through this mana they have done something it's mean bad thing, or they cannot accept what they have done mistake, so later on they regret it. So how can we understand or recognize this?
I think this, yeah, thank you very much for your question. And the only thing that I can say is that understanding the tendency. If you look at Sabbasava Sutta, Vitakka Santana Sankhara. So if you can, the best way to deal with the particular mental state is that you are trying to, one of the best ways, there are other ways of course, one of the best ways is the ability of someone to understand the basic psychological tendency. So if you are, for example, that is what is meant by vitakka santana sankhara, the looking at the basic psychological roots of your emotions or your thinking, so and so forth. So I think this is something difficult. It's very difficult
Yes.
for a person now who has never sort of a good social relationship. It's very difficult for that kind of person to teach compassion. But if you don't have this training, and if you don't have the training of understanding your the real psychological the nature of behind your thinking, the psychological tendencies behind your thinking, I think that is, until then you are unable to understand. But if you are able to see that, okay, now I have, my tendency is, okay, now I am in comparing someone with a subtle need of, with a subtle need of discriminating that person, hurting that person. Okay, so that kind of tendency, if you can understand that kind of tendency, I think you are sort of, you have won the match. Okay, but it's not easy. It's not easy. But I think for a person, now Buddhist teaching has taught a lot us about these mental states, whether it be vitakka, whether it be compassion, whether it be karuna, whether it be mana. So why do we have all these explanation in the Buddhist text? A lot of interpretations of these about these concepts and ideas. The purpose is that about dharmas in the simple sense. So if you look at there is a large number of interpretations given about dharma, the psychological factors and also the physical factors. Why? Because this is for the purpose of understanding. So for us, actually, as the people who read the text, as the people who listen to the Dhamma, as the people who train ourselves in the practice, I think for us it is easy to understand. Probably it might be difficult for someone, but still we have this understand by reading, listening, practicing, so and so forth. So I think the teaching of the Buddha, which come in the form of commentaries, in the discourses or Abhidharma texts, give us enough understanding, enough enormous insights in order for us to understand these things in a better way.
Yes, Venerable, thank you so much for your answer. I think you have given the answer in general way, so I think it's also helpful.
If you have anything to add, please tell us, because probably in your mind you might have something something more interesting.
Yes, Venerable, like if we are having like discussion and arguments, but the person who has such kind of ego, I would like to say that ego or pride also. So he or she is not being able to accept the reality. So it is like, closing the sun by clouds, I found in that way. So how ego can close our knowledge or even get rid of that seeing the reality. So I don't know whether,
I think the practical knowledge is also very important there, because we can look at how people react to our words. For example, if you are very concerned with what you are doing, your behavior and your kind of words, I think you can learn a lot. Some people have told me that I have this problem with these people, but he himself cannot understand what has happened. But we, as the people who has some ability to inquire into the people's mentality, we can say, you have this problem, you are boasting about yourself, and you have this subtle tendencies of discriminating other person. The way how you say something to some person is not the better way. So that kind of some people cannot understand it, but if you are inside, if you have some kind of understanding about the general some better general some knowledge about the general society and the kind of the mutual good mutual relationship within the society. I think
Yes.
you can teach. That also supports for us to enhance our knowledge in Dhamma.
Yes, whenever. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Whenever. Yeah.
Thank you, Venerable. Thank you so much. We already had 20 minutes for the question and answer session. So, thank you, Venerable. Thank you so much for your precious teachings. Now, may I request Dr. Daminda Ji, Deputy Secretary General, IBC, to kindly deliver a vote of thanks. Dr. Daminda Ji.
Hello. So let me first pay my respectful gratitude to Venerable Professor Miriswaththe Wimalagnana, who is a notable scholar in the world now. But unfortunately, we cannot see him right now because he has a power failure.
Sorry for that. I am having a power cut. Yes.
No, but I can see your smile. It's very clear. But though Venerable is in dark, but I think he has his aura, so we can see him. So yes, so that light of Dhamma has illuminated the Venerable, so I can see him, although he's in dark. But so we should actually pay our most humble gratitude to Venerable Professor Miriswaththe Wimalagnana Mahathero for joining this program in a very short notice. In fact, we have already enlisted Professor Venerable Miriswaththe Wimalagnana Mahathero for a future session, but we had to invite him all of a sudden because the Dhamma teacher who we have invited had some sort of a problem. So my Secretary General, Venerable Dr. Dhammapiya Mahathero, called me and said, asked me to find somebody who is like who can replace, find a very good Dhamma teacher. So we first spoke to we first spoke to Venerable Miriswaththe, Professor Miriswaththe Wimalagnana Mahathero. So he agreed. So like we were greatly relieved because now we know that we had somebody who is so competent in teaching in this program. So I thank him once again for coming here and who made this platform alive and shared immense knowledge to enlighten ourselves in Dhamma in this very important topic, conceit in right way and wrong way, looking through Abhidhamma. So this is the topic. And also we thank our Secretary General, Dr. Dhammapiya Mahathero, for organizing this series of Dhamma talks. This is the fourth one. And IBC, International Buddhist Organization, International Buddhist Confederation. Now we have been doing many activities to bring the message of the Buddha to the whole world. And so in fact, from the land of Buddha, India, So we are taking this message of the Dhamma as it happened 26 centuries ago, and it is our bounded and sacred duty to spread the Buddha's message to the world. So I think we are working hard to do this, and we invite Venerable Professor Miriswaththe Wimalagnana again for another interesting teaching like this, and we are very much, I mean, we are happy to see him personally in a physical program very soon. And also I would like to thank the participants in this program and who raised questions, venerables and other people, and our staff, IBC staff, who are at the office right now until we finish this program, and Fonsok, Miss Fonsok, who moderated the program as well. And I wish everybody blessings of the Noble Triple Gem. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Damindaji. Thank you for your vote of thanks. At the end, I would like to thank all the participants for joining us today, and we look forward for your participation in our next 5th Dhamma Talk on 21st January 2022. And for more updates, you may kindly visit our website ibcworld.org. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.